this is Noreen from Joya Cards, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Yay! For more of my Stampin' Up! Card videos, please click that subscribe button and the little bell, and you'll be notified when my videos release. Anyway, now let's go make a card. Hello everybody, it's January 2022. Yay, Happy New Year. Anyway, I want to start the year with a paper pumpkin kit. And by the way, I am going to be doing some alternatives to my paper pumpkin here. And I got a suggestion from a subscriber to only use what's in the box, because I always use all my other stamps and dies and make all these crazy intricate cards. But we're just going to be doing the alternatives with what's in here. Maybe I'll add some paper, or I might do some basic dies like a circle or a square, round, or just things that everybody has. So anyway, let me show you what's in the box. And it's Lots of Fun Paper Pumpkin. And I know it says December 2021, but it's always doing the month next. So the Christmas one was in November. So this is just a normal fun one. Oh, and the February paper pumpkin is Hugs and Kisses. So that'll be fun. Here are the stamps, and it's like a banana and a toast and a flower and cherries and a bunch of faces and sayings. Here's the embellishments, the string, the dimensionals. And oh, by the way, these glue dots are fantastic. Keep these. So they are great for putting on embellishments like those, the bumblebee trinkets. They're way better than a glue dot because a glue dot is thicker, and these are nice and thin, and it totally holds onto it. So keep these in your little stash. So when I sell my paper pumpkin kits, because I do sell mine, and I'll have them up on my online store real soon, but I always take these out. You don't get these, and you don't get the ink. And the ink, by the way, for this month is Early Espresso. And then we've got some die cuts of some tags. Here's more tags. Oh, these are quotes. So these are quotes for your little sayings. Cherry, banana, toast, flower. Here's some more die cuts. Here's some hellos and some border die cuts. Here's some circle and rectangle vellums. And then the cards are this cool green, a yellow, and like a teal with a yellow. And look at the envelopes. They're all lined. So these are really cool. So I'm going to do their alternatives, and then I'll show you mine alternatives. And like I said, I'm only using what's in the box because somebody requested it. And if you want anything to be done, just request it. I might go ahead and do it. So the only additives I'll do is maybe paper and generic die cuts, circles, squares, rectangles, that kind of generic kind of stuff that everybody has. So I'm going to do the alternatives, and I'll be right back. I'm back. So I wanted to show you their cards first. And of course, all the instructions are in here. And take note on the back that all the coordinating colors are right here. So when we make all our alternatives, I'm going to primarily use these. So here are their three. Now let me give you some tips here. There are 2 smiley faces in the kit. And by the way, before I even start out, I stamp everything out. And then I also take the stamps off of the plastic and I back it on white here. And this stamp set has 26 stamps. There's a ton of stamps here. So that's what I do first. Now, there are 2 faces that smile. One's smaller and one's larger. The larger one is for the glasses and the mustache. So just be aware of that. Also, when you're putting these layers on, the sentiment is right underneath the brown one here. Make sure that you snail right on the edge so that'll all fit. Also, when you do the string on the cherries, I would go ahead, and in the instruction it tells you use a 6-inch length of the thread and cut it. But I do my bows on the reel here, and then I cut afterwards, and then you're not wasting so much of the thread. And then I did not wrap it around. I went ahead and made my bow, used one of those mini glue dots here that they have in the package, which by the way are great for putting on embellishments like those bumblebee trinkets and stuff. And then I just put them on there like that. So these are the 3 that they have. Now I also did the insides here. And I'll go over how I colored these in my alternatives. But here are my insides. And when I was doing this, make your alternatives first and then do the insides after. It'll be a lot quicker. So let me show you what I came up with. So here's my first alternative. Now I made 8 alternatives and I used only stuff from the kit. I did supplement with some blending pens and an ink, but that's all I believe. And I'll go over with you. So you basically will have the same things that I have. I didn't use any extra stamps or dies. So this one is just really easy. I used their base. This strip is actually cut from an envelope. I used the inside of the envelopes so I could use some of these papers. So I used this from the envelope. This, of course, is their vellum circle and their vellum ink, or their cut here is this piece. The cherry I put up on dimensionals. Now I used mini dimensionals instead of the bigger ones for something that's really small. So on the leaf, I used a mini dimensional, and these I used with the one in the package. Now you can take the regular dimensionals and just cut them in half, but the mini dimensionals are a lot easier. Also, anything extra I used in the cards, the blending pens and stuff will be in the description of my video. Just click on it. I'll also have links, because if you click any of my links, it'll take you directly to my Stampin' Up! Site and you can place an order, which is really good. So the other thing I did here is I took the tag here and I cut off the little quote thingy on the end and just made it a regular tag. And then I put the little dimensional. You know what's kind of funny about these little embellishments here, not dimensional, these little embellishments that come with the kit, is I made these like yesterday, and then I went to bed and I finished them up today. And I had washed my hands, I washed my face, I slept in it, and I literally found one of these mini little hearts on my hand here this morning. It's like, so that was kind of funny. And then the interior, I just took the same color as what's on the outside, and you know that because all the colors are listed here. So I knew that was Pool Party. So I did Pool Party, the white, put the extra little cherry here, and I stamped the little heart. Now this little heart, here's an extra, I used Cherry Cobbler. So you're going to have, even if you don't have Cherry Cobbler, you can just use real red or whatever red you have there. So this is my alternative number 1. Here's alternative number 2, and what I did is I took the negative from the vellum and took the inside of the envelopes and did the circle. Now if you're going to cut a circle out, draw the circle on the opposite side you want to use. So if I want to use this, then I'll do it on the yellow, and if I want to use the yellow, I'll do the pencil mark on the other side. So a mechanical pencil works best. Just trace it and then fussy cut them. Just go slow as you can and turn as you're cutting, and it'll turn out really well like this. So I went ahead and took the large and the small circles, and I used the envelopes, and I made all these circles. Of course, this all comes in the kit with a hello, which is also on dimensionals, and I used mini dimensionals instead of using the bigger ones and cutting them and all that. And here's the little embellishments here. And then on the inside, of course, I know this is Daffodil Delight, so I use Daffodil Delight, Whisper White, and just use these on the edges. So that is alternative number 2. Here's alternative number 3, and I have to give a little shout out to Linda Bettinger. She's my upline, and I was talking to her the other day about paper pumpkin alternatives, and in the past I've kind of used my whole artillery of stamps and dies to do my alternatives. And one of my subscribers, I forget her name, I so apologize, said, hey, let's just do a paper pumpkin alternative with just the kit. So I did a little bit, because you got to do a little bit. So I added paper, which everybody should really kind of have, whether it's Stampin' Up! Or not, even though Stampin' Up! Will match everything. That's kind of the great thing about Stampin' Up! Everything, the papers match the ink, which match everything else. So so just paper and ink is what I put in substitution. So but Linda said that she thought the egg, she did some alternatives where she took the egg and made a flower. And to tell you the truth, when I first looked at this die cut, I thought it was a flower too. So a little shout out to Linda. But I went ahead and used it. So what I did is I took the card that had that kind of pool party splash in the middle, and then I took the cherry stamp. So here's the cherry stamp, and what I wanted was the leaf. So I took some Granny Apple Green, which is, like I said, this is an extra, and I just stamped the edge of that leaf, and I kind of wiped off the part with the stem on it. Of course, I made sure it was clean first. So I used my my thing here. And this is in the catalog too. I'll put this in the description of the video along with the case, because these are great to wipe off your stamps with. But I went ahead and just did the very edge for the peekaboo leaves here. And on the ones that I have the stem sticking out, I just like partially stamped to the edge of where the stem ends, and then I arranged them like that. And I do have a little example. So I stamped them out like this first, and then I took the little egg and I kind of arranged it so only one of the little stems could be seen, and I covered up the other one. So I did that, and then these are all on dimensionals, and I of course put the little heart embellishments in the middle, and then I colored the leaves with the Stampin' Blends. I used a Granny Apple Green. Like I said, this will all be in the description of the video, so you can click down there and see exactly what I've used. And of course I took that sentiment tag, cut off the little quote thing, took the little embellishment here and just cut it down so it'll fit. And then on the inside, I know this is Granny Apple Green because it's listed here, and Daffodil Delight because all the colors are here, and just stamped out the eggs, which look like flowers since I put the little leaf on it. So I just went ahead and stamped just the leaf and put them on like that. So this is alternative number 3. Here's alternative number 4. And what I did is I took that banana stamp and just randomly stamped it. And then I colored them in with light and dark Daffodil Delight blending pens. I put the dark on the inside, and then I did the light, let it dry a little bit, and then I layered over the light again and kind of blended into the dark. And I really think these are more like layering pens than blending pens, because I think in order to get it to blend, you have to layer it. And then I did the same thing with the stem, and I used the cinnamon cider. And then for the middle here is I took the outside edge of the die cut that looks like this and traced it on the opposite side. So I wanted the brown, so I just took apart this envelope and did it on the inside so I wouldn't get that pencil mark, and did this. And then I did the same thing but with the vellum die cut here, and did the yellow on the envelope, and then I bumped it up on dimensionals like so. And then on the inside, now whenever you're doing any kind of coloring on the front like this with blending pens, you're going to have to get another piece of paper and line it, because it's going to look like that. So you don't want it to look like that. So I just took another piece of paper, and you have to cut up ever so slightly the edge so it'll fold. And then I took this is the only color that's not listed inside, because it doesn't say cinnamon cider on here, but I thought it looked really well with this because I used it with the banana. So this is cinnamon cider, Daffodil Delight white, and then I did a banana on the outside as well. So this is number 4. Here's alternative 5. I used this card front here, and then I made a small circle by taking apart the brown envelope. It's white under this green here, and I traced it, and I made a white circle here. I stamped the 2 bananas, and I colored them in with Daffodil Delight and Cinnamon Cider blending pens. And then I went ahead and did the hearts, and I did use cherry cobbler. Now sometimes that heart didn't, like if you don't get enough ink on it because it's such a tiny little stamp, I took my Stampin' Write pen and I kind of filled in what I thought was a little light. Now, if you're a demonstrator, it might be a really good idea to get a set of these. I know they're kind of expensive. They're like $100 or something, but you're going to get a discount for being a demonstrator anyway. And if you're a real, if you're a hobbyist and you're buying a lot of Stampin' Up, it might be a good idea for you to be a demonstrator, because you're going to get 20% right away, and then as soon as you start, building up what you've got, you're going to get 25% off. So, you know, but these pens are great, and I use them for a lot of intricate work. In fact, I use the arm here on the banana with the Early Espresso Stampin' Write, so I can get that real thin line. And then of course I stamp their faces. These are the wider smiley faces, and I stamped that with Early Espresso. And I also took this pen here, this the Cherry Cobbler, and I did her little cheeks, and then I took the Early Espresso and I did her eyelashes and her lips a little bit, so that's really cute. And then of course the I Pick You All Around and the little splotchy things. And then on the inside I did Granny Apple Green, the white, and I did some more bananas. So this is alternative number 5. Here is alternative number 6. And what I did with this one is I wanted the egg on the toast. So I went ahead and stamped in white, and you can get white paper from the inside of this envelope here. And I stamped the egg first, and then I made a mask. So I stamped it again, cut it out. So once you stamp it, I put this on top. And I did use these little glue dot things as a temporary hold. So when I masked it, it didn't move around. And once it was masked, I stamped the toast on top of it. And then when I took the mask off, it looks like this. And then I cut them out, and I colored this with cinnamon cider, the dark on the edge and light in the middle, and the light and dark Daffodil Delight, of course, dark on the outside, and then I layered the light in the middle. And I cut them out and put them on dimensionals here, and then I just layered up the pieces that came in the kit, took the quote off of this tag here and stamped it. And then on the inside, of course, it's Daffodil Delight, because that's what we have on this. And then I stamped it again here just by itself. So this is alternative number 6. Here's alternative number 7, and I really like this card. I really debated between this one and the last one. I always put the last one, the one I like the best, as the last, but this was super easy, and I just took a piece of white cardstock. Everybody has white cardstock, and it's 5.5 by 4.25 like everything else, and I just stamped the cherries on the one side, and of course I stamped it off, so I had my scratch piece of paper underneath as I stamped it. And I used the Early Espresso, and I stamped the sentiment here, put a little the embellishment that comes with the kit on the side, and then I colored the cherries in cherry cobbler, the dark one, and I left just a little bit of the cherry uncolored, so it gives that highlight to it. And then I used the dark and light shaded spruce to do the leaves. And then on the inside, I did of course have to line that side here, because if I wouldn't have lined it, you would see all the coloring through the top here. And just used cherry cobbler paper, of course, and the white, and did another cherry. So this is actually one of my favorites. So this is number 7. Here's the last one, and I think it's kind of funny because it's like the egg and the toast on the plate, and then you open it up and they've been a little eaten. Just a little bit of my twisted humor. So what I did here is I took, of course, this card front. I took the large vellum circle and I did the brown here, and then I just I went online and just looked, how do you make a fork and a knife? And so you could just follow my little template here. And then I took my mechanical pencil too, and I just very slowly did my circles on the inside and outside. Actually, I used a smaller one for this one, and then I kind of had to freehand the outer line here to kind of make it look more like a plate. And then of course I layered these pieces up with the pieces that come with the kit. There's 2 pieces of toast and 1 egg. They're all on dimensionals here. And then when I did the inside, this is crumb cake, because crumb cake is one of the colors, Pool Party and white, and layered them up. And then when I stamped the toast and the egg, I took the stamp and I stamped all of it but the little corner. I kind of pulled it off the edge, and then I just made a little scribbly line in between. And then of course is Cinnamon Cider, light and dark Daffodil Delight, and that is number 8. So here's all my alternatives. Like I said, all the dimensions and all the products. And I used everything just from the kit. There's no extra dies, no extra stamps. The only thing I brought in was the Stampin' Rights and the Stampin' Blends and like Cherry Cobbler, Granny Apple Green. They'll be in the list in the description. So very, very little, but everything else is from the kit. So you can easily do this yourself. And please like and subscribe. And eventually I'm going to put this up on my shop and sell the kit. So anyway, that'll do it for me. Thanks. Bye.